Hey there, welcome back. Today's video is going to be another one of my watch me do my makeup / tutorial videos. I recently purchased a few of Charlotte Tilbury's products, and the quad especially. I purchased the quad in a little dusty in the Sophisticate, so it's that kind of, it's the all matte quad, and I've just been loving it. So I figured I would do the makeup look that I've been wearing. I figured I would just use like pretty much all the Charlotte Tilbury products that I have. So pretty much I have like eyes, cheeks, concealer, and lips. So I figured I'd do a look with all of that and kind of the look that I've been enjoying with it recently. So let's get started. Remember, I'll link all the products that I talked about in the video down below in the comment section. So first start with foundation. So I'm going to use my Le Métier de Beauté Classic Flawless Finish foundation. And I'm down to like the last bits of this. So this is this was one of my holy grail foundations. I absolutely love this foundation. As it's getting down to the last bit of it though, it's starting to change a little bit on me. So it's been my holy grail for a long time, and it's recently kind of been changing a little bit on my skin, so that's been a little challenging. But I found I've been applying it recently with my beauty blender, which I just started using. I know I'm like late to the party here, and I love it. First of all, I love the beauty blender. It gives more of a dewy finish, I will say, and I tend to like obviously more of a natural matte finish. And so, you know, for that I sometimes have to like add some powder or whatnot. But overall I'm liking the finish. It does, like, you know, it does soak up like a lot of product. So just know that anyone that kind of is contemplating it. And I know some people like the technique that people use, they tend to use like a stippling motion. I use like a stippling and a, you know, kind of swiping motion with my beauty blender. I still use my makeup brushes though to apply foundation, so I didn't like exclusively go like only beauty blender bandwagon. I really still like my makeup brushes that I use to apply foundation. It does really look good when you stipple it on, but it takes so much longer to stipple it versus to like swipe it. So sometimes like when I'm like in a rush, I really just kind of get to swiping it. And I just kind of put it all over. Like I said, Beauty Blender gives like a really sheer finish, even if your foundation is pretty, you know, medium coverage. So, you know, for me, I tend to go back over certain areas that I want a little more coverage on, or I add some concealer in those areas. So for that, it can be a little bit of a challenge for me. But overall, I'm really liking it. But I still use my foundation brushes, like I use the Sephora Pro 55 airbrush brush, which I really love, to apply a lot of my foundations most days. Next, I'm going to put on the mascara. Oops. It's the Retoucher in the shade number 1. It's kind of like, you know, her version of like a Touche Éclat, the YSL Touche Éclat, or like kind of any of those brightening pens. And I just put it all under my eyes here. And it really helps to just kind of brighten. Like I said before, I don't spot treat on concealer throughout my face. I tend to just build up my foundation in certain areas if I want more coverage, like on a blemish or something, or a dark spot. So any concealers that I ever use, I use them mainly under my eyes. And so that's the Retoucher. It's very, very sheer, I will say. I'm using my Real Techniques contour brush, but I love it for concealer. And I just kind of like press the concealer in under my eyes. And you know, I was watching this, I can't remember what tutorial I was watching the other day on YouTube. If I find it, I'll let you guys know and I'll link it, but I really am totally drawing a blank. And they were talking about applying concealer more in a V motion down the eye. So like starting here and kind of dragging it down and then putting it up to the corner of your eye so it's like a triangle. So I've been trying that a little bit. The retoucher is very, very sheer, but in kind of my heavier concealers, I really want to try that kind of V, because I would assume that it really brightens up this whole area rather than right underneath the eyes. So I'm definitely been kind of trying out that technique and see if I enjoy it. So that's that's concealer. Next, I typically do my brows. So I'm going to use the Anastasia Brow Wiz in medium ash. So as I've said before, I kind of just draw the bottom line of my brows here, and then I draw the top line, the top part of my brow, and then I just fill in. And then, you know, if I get too far over, I just kind of clean it up with my finger. Take the spoolie and kind of just brush it to kind of even it out. And just, you know, follow the brow shape all the way over. As I've said before, there's really I don't typically, you know, there's no magic to like how I do my brows. The biggest, you know, thing that you can do for your brows, like I said before, is get a really good brow shaping from a brow specialist. I recently did a blog post on some of my favorite beauty places in New York to go. And I mentioned my brow place in there. It's called Shoba. And I've been going there for many, many, many years, like 10 plus years. So I love the way that they do my brows. And it's threading, so I've been doing threading for like as long as I can remember. It just gives a very, like, I just find it gives a very exact shape versus like waxing or plucking or whatnot. So I really like the kind of effect that it gives. And of course my brows are never like twins, are they? Is anyone's brows twins? I'm always like, I'll do one, I'm kind of like fixing the other, so I always have to like stop before I get like, I go overboard and like, you know, keep trying to touch up one brow versus the other, because they're never, ever gonna match, right? Okay, next, putting on my eyeshadow primer. And I'm using the NARS eyeshadow primer. Just kind of spread it all over the lid, and I just take my finger and I just pat it on. Okay. All right. Next, the eyeshadow quad. So first, I am going to take like, this is like an old Armani kind of lid brush, but like a really thick, kind of full, flat lid brush. And I'm going to use the lightest color first, right up here. And I'm just going to put that and press it all over my lid. Now, it's not a really, really bright bone color, which I tend to like. You know, looking at it in the pan, it really looks like a bone color, like a really intense bone color, but it's not. It actually comes off on my lids as like a slight oatmeal color, you know, so it's really not going to give like a stark contrast, you know, to the crease color or the dark color that I put on the outer corners of the eye, which I sometimes like. I like that kind of stark contrast if you have a really, you know, light lid color. But I've been liking this look in general, so, you know, it's kind of come to grow on me. So I just press the color like all the way up to the crease, not above the crease. Okay, simple, easy peasy. Next, I'm going to take probably, let me see, I have a clean one. I haven't cleaned my brushes in a while, so I'm going to take my MAC 217 brush, and I'm going to dip it in the lighter brown shade right here, and I'm just going to like work that through my crease. Just really, really, I didn't do like a heavy hand. I typically tend to use my 217 brush to get the color into the crease. And then I'll use like a fluffier brush to really blend it out. So, you know, it just depends on your eye shape, kind of how if you do a crease or if you don't do a crease, or how far up kind of. I try not to go too onto my brow bone with the crease, because sometimes on me it can look a little too dramatic. So I try to keep it like in the crease and slightly above, and just kind of swirling motions, you know, just trying to like buff it in there. And then on the other side, to kind of even it out. And it just kind of gives like a base crease, so to speak. Because then I'm going to go in with the blue shade and put that kind of right on the edges of the corners of my eye. So as you can see, not very intense, but I really kind of like the look when it all comes together with mascara and everything. It definitely is a pretty, you know, strong eye, which I like. And then I take a little bit of the blue, okay, and just on the tip of the brush, okay, just like really just kind of dab it in there like that. And then I just add that right in the corner of my crease. You know, you can always add more, so you always want to start off with just like a little bit, tap off your brush if you need to. You know, and just kind of like, I do like little circles and just add it right into the outer corner. It does darken up pretty quickly. I mean, it's not going to be like a super, super smoky eye, but it definitely gives you a little bit of depth in the crease. And I don't find that it's like too much where, you know, I've been wearing this look a lot to work recently, and I'll go in and I'll kind of blend that outer edge. But you can see it's just getting a little darker in the corner. You know, some people will then take that shade and go underneath the eye, like line underneath like your lower lashes. I'm not a lower lash lining kind of gal. Occasionally, like I said, I'll do a little bit liner underneath if I'm really like going for a smoky eye or if I'm going out or something. But for every day, the way my eyes are shaped, it really smudges on me. So like midday, I'll look at my eyes and they're totally, totally smudged. So it's not a look that I like to do. And especially if I wear mascara underneath on my lower lashes, oh my goodness, it really just will like look really raccoonish. So then I go in with like a fluffier brush. Here's the Laura Mercier ponytail brush. And I just kind of try and buff out the edges on by the crease. And then, you know, at this point I'll maybe, you know, keep adding in some of that gray. But the key is really to try and buff it as much as possible, because you really want the edges to be quite seamless. You put a little bit more in the brown and just kind of try and work those colors together. And I probably, you know, that's why I don't tend to do a look like this all the time when I go to work, because it definitely takes a little bit more time, because you really want to make sure the colors are blended and that you're, you know, kind of buffing out those edges right out there. You really don't want to have like really harsh edges. I try to kind of take the side of the brush and kind of buff out the edges so that it's, you know, nice and blended. Then I will take kind of an angle brush. Let's see here, like an angle brush, and I'll just dip it in the last dark brown shade, and that's what I'll use to line the top, you know, lash line. And you just kind of press it into the lash line. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but you just press. I'm literally just pushing the color into lash line. It's not a really dark brown when you line your eyes, to be honest. So if you want to go over it with like a, you know, your typical eyeliner or like a gel liner, that would make sense. I don't see too much fallout with this quad, to be honest, which is nice. You know, when I dip my brush in, a lot of powder kind of goes everywhere. But surprisingly, when it goes on your eye, I don't see that much fallout, which is good. Because that's a big reason why I tend not to use powder liner as much as I used to, because I find that a lot of powder liners like will fall underneath my eyes and spend like 5 minutes trying to clean it up. Okay, so just, you know, just keep going over the line. I don't tend to take it like all the way into my inner corner. It's just not what I like to do. I don't really have any fallout, but I'm just going to take my concealer brush and just kind of go underneath here to just, you know, help to just brighten up a little bit. Okay, so it's just, you know, it's just like slightly you know, a standard kind of lid crease, a little bit darker in the corners kind of look. I tend to, at the last minute, then take my beige shade and just pop it on the lid here, just to kind of give a little bit of brightness right at the end. Then I'm gonna throw on the Charlotte Tilbury Full Fat Lashes mascara, which I really like. It's quite a dramatic lash, which I like. You know, it gives like a full kind of dramatic, voluminous lash, which is really nice. So I'm not gonna do, like I've said before, I could spend forever doing like tons and tons of mascara. I typically add 4 to 5 coats on a daily basis, but in the interest of time, I won't do that. I'll just add maybe 1 or 2 coats here. And I got a little bit mascara on my lid, so I'll just clean it up with a brush. It'll fall right into the crease, won't even notice it. Okay, so that is kind of with the mascara. Then next, I'm gonna add the Bronze and Film Star Bronze and kind of Glow Here palette. I'm going to use my NARS Yakio brush here, and I'm just gonna dab it into the bronzer, and I just kind of, I use it slightly as a contour, but slightly as a cheek color, just kind of buffing it in with that brush. It can be it can darken up quite quickly, so I tend to just really use a little bit and kind of dab it off on a tissue or something like I have right here. You can use this strictly as like as a contour shade. I'm using it a little bit as a cheek color. And then I just take a smaller kind of blush brush. This is the MAC 116. And I just dip it in the highlight shade here. A lot comes off with the highlight, so I tend to really like dab that off. And it's a really, you know, for me, it's not a significant highlight, meaning that it's almost darker than my skin tone. So it just kind of gives my cheekbones a glow more than a highlight, to be honest. I mean, a color really has to be pale for it to be a highlight on me. And then finishing off with, let me see if I can find a brush that I want to use here. I'll use my Bobbi Brown blush brush. Finishing off with the Cheek to Chic blush in First Love, which looks really kind of bland, but it's not. It's really beautiful when it's on. And I just kind of swirl that on my cheeks. Okay. Maybe just take a big brush and just kind of buff it out. And then I'm using Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Bitch Perfect. And just, it's really like nude peachy color, but not too nude. So that's it. That's the entire look. Not too involved, but a little more than what I normally do, using most of the Charlotte Tilbury products, and I hope you like it. Okay, talk to you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.